Welcome back to my channel. My name's Lisa Jane, and if you are new here, thank you so much for clicking on this video, and if you are returning, thank you as always for supporting this channel. Today's video is going to be slightly different, and I haven't done one of these in a while, to be fair, and as you can tell by the title, it's going to be a book haul. Usually I include my book hauls within my wrap up and bookish resets now, so if you ever want to see what new books I've bought, that's generally where they will be. However, in the month of May I did buy quite a few. I was gifted one or two, I think, as well, but however I felt like that was too many in that video, because that video can be quite long because we touch on a lot of things. However, I don't want to talk about that one right now. We are talking about my book haul. So without further ado, we are just going to get into it, and we are going to start with a book called The Between Worlds B&B by Amy Mae Baxter. This is an absolutely beautiful cover. However, as I'm filming this, I'm now at the end of May, and I did try and start this in May and I just didn't gel with it very well. It has got them magical feelings to it. It's about a girl called Margot, and she's bored. It's the summer before she graduates and she's had no idea where her life is going. Basically, this B&B pops up, this magical B&B, and it sort of goes from there, but it's just a bit young, and I didn't realise, I should have realised it was YA, but it read very young to me. It just wasn't for me. I think if you are younger, you will definitely love this. However, yeah, it just wasn't my vibe. I think this is going to go, although the cover's beautiful, I think it is going to go in the unhaul pile. So I'm going to start off on a bit of a negative, but we are going to keep going because it does get better. The next book on my pile, and I think I've shown you this many a time, but I did buy this in the month of May, and that was The Matchmaker Cafe. This is just a cute little romance. I don't know whether it's a rom-com or just a contemporary romance, but it just says, at Matcha Moments, owner Sasha Lee is a star matchmaker, helping customers find love over a smooth cup of matcha. You'd think that as the master she'd be living her fairy tale ending, but Sasha is allergic to commitment. With a growing reputation as success is a challenge, when the unmatchable Ben walks in, a man who believes he's too boring for love. And I won't read any more because I don't want to spoil it too much, because I think, for me personally, romance books are, you sort of know the formula and how it's going to go, so we don't need to read the whole of the back, because I think sometimes that can give too much away. We then move on to, which is one of my latest buys, and I am, along with everybody else, I'm really excited about it, and that is The Ballad of Falling Dragons by Sarah A. Parker. I read When the Moon Hatched very early on when I got back into reading, and thoroughly enjoyed that book. However, I probably will need to do some sort of reading summary of it, because I don't want to reread it because I'm not the fastest reader, and I think it's just going to take me too long to be rereading books all the time for when the next one comes out. So I'm going to try and find a good summary. If you know of one, please let me know down below, and I will go and seek that out. But yeah, very much looking forward to book 2. This is part of the Moonfall series, I believe. And yeah, When the Moon Hatched was just lovely. It took me a little while to get my head around it. The writing is gorgeous in there, and I think she's very much known for this type of style writing. But yeah, definitely worth the try. And I would say, if you're only just stepping into fantasy, maybe When the Moon Hatched isn't the best book to start with, in my opinion, only because I did and found it harder to get through. Even though I really enjoyed it by the end, it took me a while to get into it. So yeah, they are my thoughts on that series. We then move on to my next buy. This was literally £3 in the works, and it's book 4 in the When in Rome series. I haven't read any of these books. I am absolute nightmare of buying books in a series when I don't know if I even like the series. However, we've done it and it was £3, so it's not the end of the world. I have book 1, When in Rome, book 2, Practice Makes Perfect, and I need to still buy book 3. I think it's Beg, Borrow or Steal, I want to say. And then obviously we've got this one now, so I'm going to just put that one back where it goes. So I'm not going to read the back of that one because it is like book number 4 in the series, and I don't know whether that's going to spoil things for me. We then move on to this one, which is the Daisy Chain Flower Shop. If you've seen any of my videos, you probably know how much I love the Dream Harbour series. It's cheesy, it's corny. The first book was called The Pumpkin Spice Cafe, and yeah, they're not for everybody. However, I just utterly adore them, and they can be quite spicy, so just be warned, if you don't like spice in your books, these definitely do contain it. But yeah, this is book number 6, and I've read all 6 of them up to now. I literally picked it up from the works. I just love these little sprayed edges with the watering cans and sunflowers as well. But yeah, I picked this one up from the works when it came out, and I literally read it within the same week, so we were done. I think we have 2 more coming out next year. I think one of them is the Ice Cream Parlour, or something to do with ice cream, and then we have a new one for the autumn, I think. But yeah, really excited for them next year. We then have another one I just picked up at the works, and this is called Amid Clouds and Bones. And this is a lovely book. This is a standalone fantasy, and this follows Mildred, who it just says, Mildred's betrothal to the diabolically mean Prince Atakan holds the realm's hope for peace. But as the pair spend more time together and their feelings begin to deepen, talk of war becomes a reality and fate intervenes, leaving Mildred prisoner in the Unseelie Kingdom. With a devilishly handsome Unseelie king determined to win her affection, and a cruel but alluring fiancé stuck hundreds of miles away, Mildred must choose loyalty to her kingdom, freedom, or her heart. So yeah, it just says the epic enemies to lovers romantasy standalone. So can't wait to give this one a go. I have got 2 other books by Ella Fields on my bookshelf that I haven't yet read. But yeah, this one just sounded really good. And you know, we all love our series. I'm one of them. I'd love to get into a world and then just be immersed into it and really just love everything about it. However, just a standalone now and again is just really nice. I then bought the next 2 books in the Legendborn cycle. So the first book is Legendborn, which I picked up at the works in April, I think. And then I've now picked up Bloodmarked, which is book number 2, and Oathbound, which is book number 3. I'm obviously not going to read the synopsis of these. So I do have Legendborn, and this one just says, some legacies are meant to be broken. After her mother dies in an accident, 16-year-old Bree Matthews wants to escape. A residential programme for bright high schoolers seems like the perfect opportunity until she witnesses a magical attack on her very first night on campus. Then it goes on, and I don't really want to read too much more than that. I think you should, well, I think we should go into it blind. So if you are interested in this, I recommend you pick it up. It is a YA fantasy series, so I'm hoping it's not going to read too young like the other one did. But I have seen people read this and really enjoy it, even though it is YA. I do apologise if you can hear the strimmers and gardeners out at the moment. I thought I'd picked a good time to do this video, but obviously not. So I do apologise if you can hear that. Then move on to our next book, which is Furybound. This is book number 2 in the Wolves of Ruin series. I have on my June TBR Diabound, thanks to you. I ask subscribers to choose a book, just one book off my cart that they'd like me to read, and then the book with the most votes basically gets put onto my following month's TBR. That's a bit of a mouthful. So for the month of June, the book with the most votes was Diabound. So because I'd picked up Diabound as my June TBR, I wanted to pick up Fury Bound in case I really enjoyed it. I keep doing this and buying books when I haven't read the first one. However, I just feel like I am going to like this series. I know Diabound gets a little bit compared to Fourth Wing. Now, I really enjoyed that book with all the bonding and the trials, and I'm hoping Diabound is going to give me some similar feelings. Obviously, it's just with dire wolves, so we will see. But yeah, I picked up book number 2. Again, I'm not going to read the back of this one because I don't want to spoil anything from the first. We then picked up, and this was actually off Vinted, and it is The Correspondent by Virginia Evans. I don't want to spoil it too much because I am going to do a wrap up on this one in my May wrap up. However, this one has been read, and I can tell you now, I absolutely adored this book. It is following I don't know if she's 73 at the time it starts, but it's following a lady named Sybil Van Antwerp, and basically it's all the letters and emails and things she sends to family members, friends of the family, the gardening club, people she's worked with in the past. She just sends letters all the time. Some people get back to her, some people don't. But yeah, I felt it's probably started off a little bit slow and I was a bit confused at times. However, once I'd got to like I think it was the 40 to 50% mark, I was thoroughly invested. And yeah, this book brought me to tears at the end, and I don't say that very often. So yeah, highly recommend this one. I literally bought this one as I'm filming yesterday, and this is Elsie Silver's Fever Dream. I've read all of you can see them just behind me there. I've read all of the Chestnut Springs series, thoroughly enjoyed them. I haven't gone back and read her other series, and I can't think what they're called. The Gold Rush Ranch is one, and I know then she had the newer one, which was Wild Love and all them. But they just haven't took my fancy the same, but I really liked the look of Fever Dream, and this is part of the Emerald Lake series, so there are going to be more books coming out. And this, I couldn't believe it when I picked it up yesterday. I thought it feels really different, the edges of the book for a paperback. And then I opened it up and it's got pictures inside, which is just amazing for a paperback. I've never seen this. What does it say there? Knowing Glances, Stolen Kisses, Secret Rendezvous, Introducing Julia and Emmett. I just love it. I just love the pictures. And yeah, and we've got them on the back as well. How gorgeous is that? But again, it's going to follow that romance formula, as I always say. So I don't want to read the back to you. Let's just go into these as blind as possible. But yeah, really looking forward to this one. We've just got, I think, 4 more left. So the next book I picked up was the Arcana. I call it Arcana Academy. It might be Arcana. I'm not sure. But I call it the Arcana Academy. This is by a author called Elise Cover. I've not read any of her books before. Please let me know if you have, or if you've read this one, whether you liked it or not. This just says, welcome to Arcana Academy. Clara Greysword, or Greysword, I don't know which way that is, has survived a world of Eclipse City through thievery, luck and a whole lot of magic. But when she is sentenced to a lifetime in prison for illegally inking tarot cards, it seems her luck has finally run out. I'm so sorry about the reading that. The words on the back are so tiny and it almost is blurred. Until Prince Kalis offers her an escape for a price. In exchange for her life, Clara must pose as Kalis's bride-to-be and a student at the elite Arcana Academy. There she and Kalis will conspire to steal a powerful card from the king and use it to bring his tyrannical rule to an end. I'm not going to read anymore because the way I'm reading it is awful, but it's very blurred to me on the back unless it's my eyes. But yeah, looking forward to this one. And I'd just like to give new authors a go as well. I think sometimes if you give new authors a go, it opens up your world to a whole lot more books if they've written previous books before. We then move on to another book which I picked up for £3 in the works. How can these books be so cheap? It's just amazing. I don't know how you pronounce this person's surname. I will just show you so that you know. Tigist Germa. That's what I want to say, but I don't know if that's right, and I do apologise if it's wrong. But this is called Immortal Dark. I think this is going to be part of a trilogy. I'm not sure. It just says, bloodthirsty vampire, innocent maiden, think again. Orphaned heiress, Kidan Ardain grew up far from the society she was born into, where human bloodlines gain power through vampire companionship. When her sister June disappears, Kidan is often convinced a vampire stole her. The very vampire bound to their family, the cruel yet captivating Susanyos. I don't know that surname. I do apologise. To find her sister, Kidan must infiltrate the elite Uxley University and survive living with Susanyos as he does everything he can to drive her away. As Kidan uncovers the heart of the ruthless vampire underworld, she grows determined to bring Uxley to its knees. But when her thirst for revenge collides with Susanyos' lust for blood, the pair become entangled in a game of seductive desires and murderous secrets. So I think this is going to be quite dark. I don't read an awful lot of dark fantasy. However, I am starting to dip my toe in. Whether I like it is going to be, you know, we're going to find out. But yeah, I can't wait for that one. We then have just two more, and they are both books that have been obviously released previously, and they've now come out on in paperback. And the first one is Rose in Chains. I think this is sort of like a reimagining of, I can't think of their names, out of Harry Potter. You know, Hermione and Draco. I think it's Draco. I think it's Hermione and Draco. Correct me if I'm wrong. Yeah, I think they're sort of like reimaginings of this. So obviously I've got Alchemized as well, which is another one. I believe that is quite dark. I'm yet to pick that one up. I did have like an urge to pick it up at some point, and then I just put it back down again. It was just like, no, I'll pick this back up in the winter, I think. But yeah, going back to this one, this is called Rose in Chains. This is by a lady called Julie Soto. Again, new author to me, so it's always good to read new authors. And it just says, the war is over, the dark forces have won, the hero is dead. After her kingdom falls, Princess Bryony Rosewood is captured by the enemy, stripped of her magic and auctioned off to the highest bidder. She's sold to Toven Hurst, scion of the powerful and devious Hurst family, and her secret infatuation. But Bryony can't give in to her feelings. A secret rebellion is brewing, and she must escape to join it. Yet despite the horrors of her new world, help and hope can arise in the most unlikely of places. So yeah, gonna give it a try. They're just so cheap, paperbacks, especially in Asda, which I've mentioned before in the UK. It's like, I think it's like Walmart or Target, one of them two in America. But yeah, they're just so cheap. And then we have, last but not least, The Night and the Moth by Rachel Gillig. This will be my first book by Rachel Gillig. I've not read the One Dark Window duet. And I know it is in the works, and I've been tempted to pick it. I was almost tempted to pick them both up yesterday. I saw them both yesterday. However, I just don't know. But this one seems to be pulling me in a bit. And it just says, Sybil is a diviner. In her dream, she receives visions from 6 unearthly figures known as the Omens. Lords and common folk alike travel across the Stone Waters kingdom, wind-swept moors and craggy mountains to learn their futures by her dreams. Just as she and her sister diviners near the end of their 10 years of service, a mysterious night arrives at the cathedral. Rude heretical and devilishly handsome, the Knight Roderick has no respect for Sybil's visions, but when Sybil's fellow diviners begin to vanish one by one, she has no choice but to seek his help in finding them. So I'm not going to read any more than that, so we sort of get the idea. But yeah, really looking forward to this one. And they do some really nice sprayed edges. I know they're not for everybody, but I just really like them. But yeah, they are all the books I bought or received in the month of May. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video. My wrap up and bookish reset will be coming in the one after this one, so I am going to film that at some point either today or tomorrow. I'm just coming to the end of one of the books for May, so then I can literally do a proper wrap up. But yeah, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in my next video. Take care everyone, bye bye.